Pennywise, a 40-year-old clown that went rogue, and in his midlife crisis decided the answer to life was to kill and kidnap kids. Candyman, the American version of what we knew as Pinky Pinky, that traumatized our whole primary school bathroom experience. Shh! Don't open the tap and don't look in the mirror and call his name 3 times. We grew up watching these westernized versions of our worst nightmares, but these stories are what some Africans would call child's play, as compared to their real life experience with horror stories, or what they would call black magic. From unexplained tales of mythical creatures, powerful shamans, African scare stories have it all. In today's podcast, we look at real life African horror stories. Hi, my name is Patsy, and this is Patsy's podcast. Our first interviewee is Mr. Msindisi Lizani. Mr. Lizani, give us an introduction of who you are.
The name is Msindisi, the name is Lizani. I was born in the Eastern Cape, a small town called Eno, in a village that's kind of big called Ekubeng.
So tell us, what is your scary story?
So my worst African encounter with these scary stories was that we were home in Eastern Cape because my family is Christian center. So we were godly, but some of my family members they are traditional based, so they believe in all these extraterrestrial things.
Such as, what would you call them?
Ghost, otogoloshe, that you can use lightning to hit someone else, that you can cause harm to an individual by enchanting spells, that kind of thing.
What do you call those?
It's called ukgoyega in the language, which is witchcraft in English, to be precise. So that's the things that I've encountered in this journey of mine.
So tell us, what is your story?
So one time, normally there's a tradition at home. When you go to bed, you pray. That is, it's how we're raised, that you thank God for saving you through the day, protecting you. And you're asking Him to protect you even further during the night and spare you in a way from all these things that you can't see. So
you would do this regularly?
Yeah, we do this regularly. But once we reach a certain age, my father is very democratic. So everything you do of your own will, of your own accord. But he advises you and tells you which way to go. The decision is yours. So my father said, let's pray, guys. My sisters refused to pray. They're busy, they're watching the lounge, watching TV. So my father and I and my mother, we prayed. We prayed in a nice prayer session there in my father's bedroom. We prayed for a few minutes. We came out, I went to bed, they're still watching the TV in the lounge. My dad went to bed. I fell asleep. In the middle of the night, I could hear some and I wake up, try and look around to see as to what's going on, because in Eastern Cape it's often to have house break-ins, So the first instinct was there might be someone trying to communicate with someone else, because at the time I didn't consider the idea that it might be something else. So I wake up, I see my sisters. I could see that they're trying to scream, like screaming.
So are they asleep?
They are on their bed sleeping straight, as in, if you have seen how a person lies in a coffin, they were lying on their beds as if they're in a coffin, and they were trying to scream out, like you tell them they're like moving, but nothing was transpiring. And I go for the light because in Eastern Cape we don't usually close our windows fully when we sleep because it gets very dark in there. So we're from Joburg, so the darkness of Eastern Cape, because there's no street lights, it makes things worse. So we keep it light when we sleep. So I went for the light. When I go for the light, I could see that they're trying to speak, but nothing is coming out. And I try to reach them, to tap them. When I tap them, then they like wake up instantly. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, hey, they start crying now. Something was strangling me. I'm like, both of you guys at once? They're like, yes, I'm seeing this. They start crying. Oh. I'm like, whoa, guys, whoa. And I called my father from the other bedroom. Like, Dad, your kids are crying. They've been strangled. My dad was like, who was strangling you? strangled them back.
So you couldn't see anything?
We couldn't see anything. But it's like we strangled them back, we made a joke of this thing. And they were really concerned, they were scared to go back to sleep. Spent about an hour. My dad said, I told you guys to pray. They're like, no. Okay, went back to sleep after an hour. Immediately we switched off the light. They start screaming, do you see the train on the wall? The train on the wall.
So they started seeing things on the wall.
Yeah. What train on the wall? They're like, there's a train on the wall moving. And now I start like panicking because they're older than me. I'm younger, And I stood on top of my bed on my feet. And suddenly I saw this train as well. It went up the ceiling of the house, then descended upon them. Like, those, these lights, descended upon them. Descended upon them, chaos erupted. On their behalf, because they tried to scream. You can tell they're trying to scream, but they can't move. Went for the light again. They're still struggling. And I tapped them again, they're crying. And my dad comes out like, I told you guys to pray. They take knives and put them under the pillow because they believe that ghosts and silver and they don't match very much. Now they do that. My dad argues. He's now a bit angry, and they still argue their points. We stayed 30 minutes up. We went back to bed the third time. The third time we went back to bed. They saw the train again on the wall. Now with that seeing the train on the wall, my father was still going to his bedroom. He turned back. When he turned back, you could see a shadow moving from our room, going through the door. The door is closed, by the way. It goes through the door. I wake up, start chasing it because it's the natural instinct. When I start chasing it, open the door. My father's caught in shock. He's trying to look at this thing. It went through the window, same shadow. Through the window. The window was closed. The catch is there like. And the stick, because instant cavemen kill sticks, the stick that was near the window, it fell. Then my mother woke up on that time. What is going on? Our mothers were crying, scared of going back to sleep. Now they had to pray now because this isn't okay. And we prayed. We prayed heavily. We prayed. And when we woke up the next morning, events had transpired elsewhere. I remember one of the events was that a household burned and they couldn't locate where the fire started. And on the following day, there was a rumor that they said that my mother did that. She burned that house. And my mother was like, but how? Because I was in my house. They were like, well, she sent someone.
And sent, what do you mean?
So in Eastern Cape, this is real, because I've seen this thing firsthand. I'll tell you about that later. You can send small beings, you can send them to go and do a dirty job.
By dirty job, what do you mean?
They can go, let's say, start a fire called Uvuta. That fire you can't put it out. I've seen it. You can only use milk to put it out. With water, you'll never put it out. They can go start Uvuta, or go strangle people, as my sister was experiencing, or go and beat people up. I've seen people being beaten by things we can't see, and they're getting bruises. We're just watching. They can do a whole lot of things. One of my friends used to take these doctors to school, so they would help with academics. Some bring them to soccer games. Yes, this just came to mind. My brother went to play soccer tournament. I went there to watch. They couldn't score. They could not score. There was a time when the goalkeeper was on the post, but they kept on missing. And it made no sense at all. Up until this guy confessed post again that you guys had no chance at all because the Dokolosha was there.
Msindisi's story is not unique to the African lifestyle. Many have experienced this Tokoloshi, which is known to be a dwarf-like spirit that lives usually in water or rivers. It's used to cause harm onto others, and it's usually used by people who could be known as quote-unquote wicked. Now these are one of the many mythical creatures that take part in what you would call witchcraft in South Africa, which adds on to the African scary stories that, quite frankly, could be real. Watch out next time for Patsy's podcast. Thank you for tuning in.